I now give the floor to Her Excellency Maria de Jesus.
Your Excellency, Mr. Kishaba Karosi, President of the 77th Session of the United Nations General Assembly, Your Excellency, Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, Heads of States and Government, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to take the floor in this majestic hall of multilateral diplomacy on behalf of His Excellency João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola, who wished to be here in person to address Your Excellency, but was unable to due to the general elections of August 24th and to his swearing-in ceremony. However, His Excellency has entrusted me to greet all those present especially Your Excellency Kishaba Karosi, and to congratulate you on your election as President of the 77th Session of the General Assembly of the United Nations, and to assure you of the support of the Republic of Angola during your presidency. Your Excellencies, this session, whose theme is a decisive moment, transformative solutions to interrelated challenges, takes place during a unique and sensitive international moment in our modern history, where we face complex challenges that call for joint solutions. The world faces persistent and cyclical challenges, which have been exacerbated in recent years by the international health situation brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, the emergence of growing threats to the economy, peace, and global security, as well as the impacts of climate change. The Republic of Angola has defended at international forums the importance of multilateralism and international cooperation that are mutually advantageous and beneficial to the relations between states, whether large or small, developed or developing, because in our understanding, this is the way that we can effectively contribute to the search for consensus solutions in resolving political, economic, social, and cultural crises. World peace, which we all aim to achieve, will only come about through peace-building efforts in every country. In this regard, the Republic of Angola continues to make important efforts to contribute to peace and stability on the African continent and in its sub-region in particular. In its role presiding the International Conference on the Great Lakes region, the Republic of Angola has spared no efforts to contribute to peace and stability in the region, especially with respect to the conflict in the Central African Republic, but also with regards to the border dispute between Rwanda and the DRC, as well as between Uganda and Rwanda, where we have modestly tried to do our best, since, as we know, the solution always, and above all, depends on the political will of the parties directly involved, as His Excellency the President of the Republic of Angola, João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, recently reminded us. Your Excellencies, Angola's efforts at peace building on the African continent merited the special recognition of the African Union, which designated the President of the Republic of Angola, João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, an African Union champion for peace and reconciliation during the extraordinary summit on terrorism and unconstitutional changes of governments in Africa, which demonstrates our country's commitment to mediation and consensus in resolving political crises in Africa and around the world. These efforts have been galvanized by the support we have received from the UN Secretary General, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Angola will continue to work closely with the United Nations and the African Union in peace and consensus-building efforts in order to resolve conflicts with a view toward achieving a culture of peace, security, and stability at the SADC, the ECCAS, the ICGLR levels, as well as in the Gulf of Guinea and in other regional organizations. The Republic of Angola continues to uphold the inalienable rights of all states to strengthen their own defenses against external threats, equipping their armed forces with men, weapons, and equipment that meet national needs. In this respect, we reiterate here our call for the lifting of the arms embargo imposed on the Central African Republic. Your Excellencies, history teaches us that we must discourage the use of force to resolve conflicts that exist between sovereign nations, as the consequences for humanity are immeasurable. Based on the principle of non-alignment enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Angola, our country advocates for conflict resolution through dialogue and respect for international law. The political military conflicts and the existing and persistent disparity in the economic and technological development spheres between world regions and geographic blocs represent a permanent threat, and at the same time an opportunity for all humanity to join forces for their peaceful resolution. Once more, Angola urges the end of the economic embargo against Cuba and the removal of unilateral measures and sanctions against the Cuban people, which impedes their country's harmonious economic, social, and technical scientific development. In general, Angola defends the lifting of all unilateral sanctions or coercive measures imposed against the peoples of Zimbabwe and Venezuela, among others, without a mandate from the Security Council. These politically motivated measures have proven to be counterproductive to efforts to eradicate poverty and to implement the Sustainable Development Goals, and they violate the principles of the United Nations Charter and of international public and humanitarian law. Your Excellencies, negotiations for reforming the UN Security Council still have not produced the results that the overwhelming majority of member states expects. The Republic of Angola joins other voices that defend such reforms towards an equitable representation that reflects the current configuration of the United Nations. The Zwollini Consensus and the Sirte Declaration represent a viable option to restore the rights and legitimate aspirations of the African continent and to correct the historical injustices that the region is experiencing with its absence from the decision-making center at one of the main statutory bodies in matters of international peace and security created by the United Nations Charter. Your Excellencies, Angola held its 5th general elections on August 24th, characterized by an environment of peace, harmony, and transparency, thus consolidating the construction of a democratic state and the rule of law, with a view toward the country's socio-economic development. The newly elected government intends to continue to work on ongoing reforms as one of the priorities of its mandates. Your Excellencies, the Republic of Angola is aligned with the international consensus on sustainable development, including the African Union Agenda 2063 on the environment. It has approved the National Strategy on Climate Change and Environmental Education and plans to achieve the target of 70% energy from non-polluting sources by 2025, favoring clean hydroelectric and solar energy. To this end, numerous and significant investments have been made in economic and social infrastructures to mitigate the effects of a prolonged drought that has affected the southern region of Angola, with special emphasis on the inauguration in 2022 of an aqueduct in the province of Cunene, which provides access to water to 350,000 citizens over a span of 160 kilometers, thus ensuring the supply for people, cattle, and irrigation. In conclusion, Mr. President, allow me to announce that the Republic of Angola will host the 10th Summit of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States on December 6th through 10th, 2022 in Luanda, at a time when the challenges that the international community faces are increasingly complex and require the engagement and solidarity of all of us in order to overcome them. Our purpose is to do everything possible so that the OSP, now a full-fledged international organization, plays its role in the concert of nations. Therefore, we would like to count on the attendance and participation of all member states. Thank you very much.
I thank the chair of the delegation of Angola. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mohammed Al Hassan, chair of the delegation of Oman.